Before the video begins, the gameplay you are watching is not Marathon, it's Splitgate 2. Just thought I'd say that because in my last video when I did this, I had multiple comments claiming that they had no idea they weren't watching Marathon gameplay, somehow. So just want to make that clear. I did not get invited to the Marathon Alpha, as did many others not get invited, so I don't have gameplay. So yeah, it's Splitgate 2. Okay. Hello, it's been about 2 weeks since I uploaded a video, and to be honest, I haven't played many video games. I played Haste for a little bit at work, which is like a kind of endless runner game, roguelike thing, which I've shown on the channel before, and I played Sonic. And skadoosh! Woohoo! Which is very similar, and that's kind of it. But when the Marathon news that came out the other day was plastered all over my Twitter feed, I saw just kidding, I make like $2 per video. But I saw a potential video. We love to talk about Marathon on this channel, and we love to prove people wrong that were in the comments section of my previous Marathon videos claiming that, this game is the best thing ever, you're all just hating, it's Bungie. Bungie can do no wrong, they have some of the best art style and PvP combat in history, etc, etc, and yeah, where are those people now? I'm sure many of you have already heard and seen, but basically the art style direction for Marathon and multiple graphics and posters that were plastered all over the walls of the game are all stolen content. The one thing that many people, including myself, said we actually like about the game is the one thing that Bungie didn't even produce: the art style. I'm not talking about inspiration, I'm not talking about just a mood board that has somebody else's work on it for idea generation. I'm talking about straight up plagiarism, theft. Somebody at Bungie right-clicked and clicked on Save As JPEG or PNG and slapped that shit into Marathon several times over. And now Bungie claim that it was an ex-employee, but I think we all know that's a load of baloney. That is the go-to excuse. A previous employee did this work, they haven't worked at the studio for 2 years, nobody has any contact with them, we deeply apologise on their behalf. Shut up. Load of baloney. The artist who had their work stolen goes by the username of Anti-Real, I believe she's called Fern, and the creative director at Bungie and creative director on Marathon has literally followed this person on Twitter and possibly other social media and even platforms such as ArtStation for years. And this artwork has existed since the end of 2017. So this stuff is like 7.5 to 8 years old. So it's extremely clear. I mean, literally word for word, some of the text and descriptions, some of the icons, etc. that are in this person's portfolio, in this project they created, have been plastered all over the walls and floors of Marathon. And it's not Bungie's first time doing this. I think there are now 5 different accounts over the past 5 or 6 years where Bungie have been found stealing content. And they are currently in multiple court cases as a result of this. So I think they will be messaging this person. I believe the art director said they have reached out to try and resolve this. Basically what this means is Bungie will be giving this person a hefty amount of money to shut them up, so they don't pursue legal proceedings, because Bungie doesn't want another lawsuit on their hands. As for how much money they offer, I have no idea. I mean, they could be like, here's the equivalent of a few years' salary of working at Bungie. We'll give you whatever we paid the guy who stole your work. Or they could be extreme and they could be like, we really want to shut you up, so here's hundreds of thousands of dollars to set yourself up for a good, 5 to 10 years of life and not have to worry about anything. Which is possible. It might sound like a lot of money, but legal proceedings can cost millions. So if they have to give someone 100, 200, 300k to shut them up, then, that's a drop in the ocean to a studio like Bungie that's worth millions and millions and millions. So yeah, the other accounts of theft that Bungie have been found on are, I think, 2 within Destiny, 1 within Nerf. You know, the toy guns that you shoot with like the polystyrene bullets in them. They're quite popular. I'm sure you all know what Nerf guns are. Yeah, Bungie like quite literally ripped off a design of a Nerf gun almost 1-to-1. So yeah, and then put it inside Destiny. So, if Marathon wasn't already cooked, then it sure is now. This game, for me, has no chance of having any form of success if it releases at its intended release date. And now they have a genuine excuse to delay the game. If they wanted to, like, they could probably turn things around and use this to their advantage. If they pay this person off to shut them up, they delay the game for like 2 to 3 years to redo the art style, because let's be honest, it was controversial anyway because it looks nothing like the original Marathon. They could redo the game's art style to a more gritty approach to match the original game, which many people would prefer, and they could improve the gameplay as well, such as adding PvE content, which is something else that I want to talk about to end off this video. I'm sure many of you have heard stories in the game dev world regarding publishers and investors and just studio heads and managers completely going against developers' warnings regarding the projects that they are working on, and also against community feedback. And Marathon is unfortunately no stranger to this, and this sheds a bit of light on why the game is so bad and just misses the mark completely, and as we've all said before, is clearly chasing a trend which publishers and studio heads think is best to pursue because they want a piece of the pie. According to Paul Tassi, who works at Forbes, very reliable source, he says that Bungie leadership reportedly ignored many developers' warnings for years about what could and couldn't work, alongside the requests to add PvE components to Marathon. Basically, the devs said players will want PvE, they won't want an extraction shooter which is PvP only, they'll want some offline modes, etc., maybe a campaign, and yeah, the leadership team and publishers and stuff at Sony just straight up said, nope, we're not doing that, we're pursuing live service extraction, because that's what brings in the most money. And speaking of those higher-ups, the Marathon game director didn't hold back in an interview recently with Games Radar as a response to this. He said that if you are looking for a PvE experience, Marathon is not the game for you. But the number one question on everyone's mind when they were playing the alpha for the first time and seeing the gameplay trailer was, who is this game actually for? So it seems like Marathon is a game that was designed for nobody. An audience that seemingly doesn't exist or is very small, and now what little hope it had has been erased because of bad practices inside the studio, obviously the theft, which they've done multiple times, and I really don't know where it goes from here. I think my assumption, which many people disagreed with in the comments of my video, many Bungie fanboys, I think what I predicted is exactly what's gonna happen. The game will get delayed. They will go back to the drawing board with this. It will probably come out on next-gen consoles instead of current-gen. We might be looking at like a 2027 release date instead. And, you know, that's probably the best thing they can do. Redo the art style, add some PvE elements to the game, just overall polish and scrap this whole extraction direction. And, you know, come back to us in 2 years' time with a new gameplay trailer and be like, hey, look how much has changed. And by then, all this this hatred towards the studio might have died down as a result of all this, you know, theft news. And they might have a shot at, you know, creating a game which sits in the middle of the pack when it comes to player counts and things. I don't think Marathon can ever become like a top seller now, but if they want any hope of it surviving for at least a few years in the current market, they do have to delay this game. And once again, I'll just sign off by saying, making videos like this, as much as I like to poke, jokes at people in the comments that were fans of this and poke fun at the game in general and things, when I first heard about Marathon, I was genuinely excited. I remember following the Marathon Twitter account when it had like 3,000 followers. I was one of the first people to look at this. As a fan of Bungie for the past 21 years of my life, this whole thing sucks. But that Bungie is not the Bungie that I grew up with. It is not the same Bungie that made Halos 1, 2, and 3, and even Reach. This is a studio compiled of people that were pulled from other companies, and, the original Bungie that we once knew and loved doesn't exist anymore. And that's sad. So, yeah. I was hoping it would be a new game that I could play and a new game that I could main, because Halo is getting boring. I don't think we'll see anything Halo related for another 2 or 3 years still. So yeah, this was something that I was genuinely interested in, but obviously I've made like 4 negative videos about the game. And yeah, I don't think that it will be something I'm interested in, unfortunately. So yeah, alright, that's it. I'm sure you've heard this news, somewhere else. So if you made it all this way while knowing this news, thanks for sticking around and watching. It helps. And I'll see you in the next video, whatever it may be. Probably Splitgate 2, because there's well, that game is basically releasing in like 5 days. There's a beta, but the beta lasts until launch, so it basically is launch. So yeah, probably Splitgate 2. Alright, thanks, bye. And remember to wishlist my game Cross Planet on Steam, that too. Okay, see ya.